Hey guys, sorry it's taking so long to make a video. I'm having issues with uploading all the videos and pictures onto my computer. It won't load the correct file type thanks to Apple, so I am now doing this on my phone, so hopefully this all works out good. But this is going to be like a four-part series. This first part is just going to be getting the car, preparing, and getting like prep for everything, and next are going to be how to do the swap. So to start out, everyone wants to know how much I spent on all this, and I really didn't spend much at all. I think with the car, the engine, transmission, ECU harness, and all miscellaneous parts and everything cost me about $3,500, and that's it. I mean, granted, it doesn't have any labor factored in because I did all the work myself. But if you were to do that by yourself, you're looking around that much, depending on if you're smart to find all the parts. But start out, I got this car for 1,200 bucks. It had a blown V6 2.7 liter engine. These motors are notorious for engine sludge and all that. So actually, the motor or the oil pump seized up and starved for oil, and now it has a rod knock in it. But here's another couple pictures of it. This was when I took it home. Mind you, this video is going to be, I tried to get all the pictures and videos in order of uh, putting in categories because I went all over the place when I was doing this swap, like, just stopping what I was doing and working on something else. But so I try to put it all in order for you guys. So here's a video of it running right here. You can see that the check engine light was on. This is when it had the 2.7 in it. Took apart the cluster because I was having issues with the fuel gauge working, and I would at least like to have the fuel gauge working. So took it apart, and turns out it had dielectric grease all over the connector, and I just cleaned that off, and I found a hair on the on one of the pins actually, and I think that might have been my issue. But cleaned it off, and it all worked. But I have a buddy of mine that actually has a shop, so I was fortunate enough to keep it there for a couple of months and work on it. I did most of the work on the ground, but later on, once I got the motor in, transmission in, and was able to drive it, that's when I got it into his shop and was able to work underneath it. So this is the motor that I got it out of. It's a 2002 Tahoe. As you can see here, it's running. And that's what it sounded like before. So the motor is running good, and everything is perfect, honestly. Picked this up for about $550. He even gave me the radiator and some other miscellaneous parts to go with it. I got the harness, ECU, transmission, yeah, everything basically to do the swap. So this helped out tremendously as everything went together. The only problem with this though is that it is a four-wheel drive transmission, and the Dodges are rear-wheel drive, and I wanted to keep it rear-wheel drive. So in the next part, I think I'll be showing you guys how to convert that transmission from uh, four-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive. It's actually not too hard. You just gotta be careful working on it. That's all. So this is the disassembly. As you can see, it's got the 2.7 liter engine in it. It's not the best picture. I was trying to just take pictures, as I'm going along, just to know where all the nuts and bolts go to. So here's another picture of the front end of it. I started taking off I took off the bumper, the headlights, and basically the whole front end off of it, just to get easy access to everything. So as you can see, I don't know why Dodge did this, but the brake lines go across from here all the way to the front, across there. But I was able to just disconnect it right here, and then just move the brake lines out of the way while I worked on it. So yeah. As you can see, I was using the air filter as a prop. I wound up selling that to someone that just needed the filter, but the hood prop, it's not there anymore because it was on the front support. But yeah. So here's the motor out, and that's what the shell looks like in the engine bay. Here's another picture of the engine. So then this is what the engine bay looks like, and honestly, when you're looking in here, it looks massive, but trust me, it fills up pretty quickly. Um, Everything in the swap actually wound up working out. You just got to get a little bit creative with everything. But yeah, as you can see, there's where the drive shaft is. On these cars, there are two-piece drive shafts, and I'll show you a little bit later on in the next parts of the videos of what I did to get it to work with the 4L60 transmission. So here's another angle view. And yeah, and then here's the drive shaft. There's a little center bearing right there. That's what holds the two-piece drive shaft up into the engine, which I actually, because of how I had the engine centered, and it was angled downwards when it should have been angled upwards a little bit more, but I already had the motor mounts already set in place, so I had to actually lower it, which you'll see later on as well. But it actually worked out, at least so far. I haven't had any issues with it, but we'll see. So for the biggest help is I went to lt1swap.com, and this website is phenomenal with all the wiring and pinouts for the LS harness as well as the ECU. And right here, it shows you all the wires and pins that you don't need and wires that you do need for an LS or an LS swap. So I wound up actually using this website a lot to take apart the wiring harness, and I stripped all the wires and harnesses that I don't need and got them out of the harness. So you wind up having to take a couple steps back and just tear everything apart and and get rid of all the wires that you don't need, and then you just gotta just put it back together again with the plastic pieces. I don't know what they call it, conduit. And yeah, I mean, you don't really have to do that for this, but I wanted to clean up the wiring and make sure there's not like extra sensors hanging out and all kinds of stuff. So just to clean it up a little bit more, I took it apart and reworked it all. And it helps you familiarize yourself with the wiring. So yeah, this is what it looks like in here. It was a mess for first couple of days, but if you do it all in one shot, you're pretty set. So that was it for this video. I'm going to have a part 2 on what to do next. I believe I was working on the motor, getting it prepped for the front sump. As you know, on the Dodge Chargers, they're front sump oil pans, as opposed to traditionally cars have rear sump oil pans, which I'll show you later on how I worked around that. So yeah, stay tuned.